The following announcement has been paid for by.
Book it.
Welcome to Book It, where I do too much for too little. And,
That's a stretch.
I mean, I've done a lot in the last few days, to be completely honest with you.
That was your choice, though.
You're right. I'm not saying it's not my choice, but I just realized as I'm doing that intro that I'm switching back and forth between programs just to play an intro, then realizing I wasn't streaming to you guys, so you couldn't even hear it. So I'm sure it was just silent. Anyways, that's just a little bit behind the scenes. In case you didn't know, there may or may not be anybody listening on Twitch. We are streaming live on Twitch for the first time from the beginning of the episode. We did it
For the third time.
For the third time. No, we're on Twitch for the third time, but the first time for a full episode, a full regular episode, because we missed a little bit of the first one. Either way, we're on Twitch. I'm
gonna start. I'm calling the Twitchers Twidiots.
Twidiots. Well, I don't know if they'll appreciate that, but
I don't care. They're Twidiots.
that's fine. Twidiots. I guess
The champ calls the Twidiots what the champ wants to call the Twidiots.
All right. I guess that's what the champ is calling the people who use Twitter.
Also, I decided that the only reason we're going live on Twitch is so Mike has an excuse to not
decided
edit
that we're
it all.
going live on Twitch.
No. I've decided that the reason is because you don't want to edit, and this gives you an excuse not to have to edit anything.
No. I was already not editing anything. I was cutting. We've been doing one take. I've been able to get it. So if we had to restart, I stopped the recording, restarted the recording. Then all I had to do was cut off the beginning of the show, and then the end of the show. There's nothing else to edit now that the levels are pretty decent. And you guys get in one take, so congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. You make it easy for me. Yeah, so this is Book It, in case anybody didn't hear. We're a wrestling podcast. We talk about wrestling and rebooking the wrestling storylines, old storylines, new storylines, fantasy storylines. If it's a storyline, we book it. Today I've got your GMs. If you're watching us live on Twitch right now, I just want to say you can see our GMs' faces on our nice little album art that we'll be putting up for the live stream and possibly the YouTube stream. So you can see that you got me, your Commissioner Hi-Fi Mike. We've got Primetime Travie T is going to be a GM. And Damone, who has no nickname.
Living the dream.
We're gonna name you like Damone the Dream or Living the Dream Damone. I don't know.
I have nicknames.
Well, we're gonna have to get you a nickname.
Use them here.
Oh, yeah, D Money, but that's about it.
We're not allowed to use that language on this.
Money? Was money a bad word?
No, what his actual nicknames are, like what Danielle calls him.
Oh. Yeah. Well, the only other nickname would be D Money. So don't be surprised if eventually Damone's name turns from Damone to D Money.
I call him D Money all the time.
Yeah. Well, I called him D Money in 7th grade.
I call him D Money in 4th grade. So what the fuck?
I was X Money, and then he was D Money. And X stood for
Money
nothing.
World Order.
Money World Order for life. Which is actually...
The X really didn't stand for anything.
No, the X did not stand for anything, but it was the 2000s, so it was okay to put X in things randomly. So, yeah. Kind of like NXT, the X doesn't stand for anything.
Neither does the N or the T.
That's very true.
T, but it at least stands for nothing.
Did we talk? Was that the live show we talked about that? I think we talked about that.
I think the live show or last episode.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We do way too many episodes. This is episode 12. I now have it in front of me so I can remember. So this week we will be doing if WCW won the war, and Travis is full of himself. He thinks he's gonna win this. So
Hey!
I'm gonna let Travis T go first.
All right, so before I get into my actual booking, we kind of got to go into how WCW were to win the war. So I'm going to go through a short little timeline of a couple important dates. On November 10th, 1997, Bret Hart arrives in WCW. That is one day after the Montreal Screwjob. I have it as they're going to promote it through the whole first hour of Nitro. 9 p.m., 9 p.m., 9 p.m., 9 p.m., Bret Hart shows up. The Hitman hits the ring, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that way when Raw goes live, or live tape, I don't know what they were doing at that point. But once they go on air.
Some were live and some were to tape.
Yeah, so whatever they were at that point, once they hit the air, Bret Hart's coming out to the ring. Which one are you going to watch? Because I think I'd watch Bret Hart.
I mean, I was watching WCW at the time, so...
Okay, I'm not asking you especially. I'm saying, like, you hypothetically.
Okay, well, you're still asking a question on a podcast.
Whatever.
All
right. So the next date is July 13th, 1998. And this is the date that Shawn Michaels arrives in WCW. So... fed up with WB. I think a lot of people know that his retirement was yes, it was the injury, but it was also a lot of his own personal demons, his own dissatisfaction with the company, with the fact that they were going with someone else, the fact that he couldn't live up to the hype that they needed him to. He couldn't carry the world on his shoulders like they wanted him to. So something I could see Shawn Michaels doing is blaming the company and not taking the blame himself. So he jumps ship to WCW. This is actually, so between November 10th, 1997 and July 13th, 1998, I have, Bret Hart working his way up the scene, up to the world title. He's getting obstacles thrown in his way, so on and so forth. He's in a feud with the NWO, specifically Hogan. And on July 13th, 1998, it's his first chance at the WCW World Title match. And all members of the NWO have been banned from ringside. It's going to be Hogan versus Hart, one-on-one, no interruptions. And it's no disqualification. So Hart has Hogan locked in the sharpshooter right when it looks like Hogan's about to tap. Shawn Michaels rolls into the ring and hits Bret Hart with a Sweet Chin Music and puts Hogan over top of him to retain the title. So Shawn Michaels is a new member of the NWO. On May 22nd, 2000, Mean Mark Calloway arrives in WCW. So this is going to be The Undertaker, but in his American Badass gimmick, but for WCW. Without the ratings push from the Montreal Screwjob, and because of Bret Hart immediately going to WCW and kind of spiking that, and then Shawn Michaels jumping ship, WCW's basically firmly held the lead. And The Undertaker decides to jump ship when his contract is up in 2000, which, depending on who you talk to, was rumored to have been in negotiations anyway at that time. According to like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. But who knows? Then February 24th, 2003, WCW announces the purchase of WWE. And on March 30th, 2003, WWE ceases all operations following WrestleMania 19. Most of the wrestlers moved to WCW and joined their roster, but there are some notable stars that don't. So Stone Cold Steve Austin just retires. WrestleMania 19 was his final match anyway. So, Triple H does not move to WCW. He instead goes on the indie scene and ends up starting his own promotion. The Rock retires and decides to pursue a film career. Chris Jericho pursues music and does sporadic indie appearances. Brock Lesnar retires and pursues football career. And Kurt Angle pursues MMA but does sporadic indie appearances as well. Any questions on my timeline before I start my booking?
No.
No.
No
All right,
questions.
so I booked Starrcade 2018. It's a 4-hour show with a 1-hour pre-show.
Well, that's already way more than WWE already gave it.
So
You said it was 2018, right?
Yeah.
You're doing?
Yep. So I don't see it being that much different if WCW was in charge. Like if WCW would have won. There'd obviously be differences, but I don't see it being as big of a difference as everyone might think. So I have 2 matches on the pre-show. So my first match on the pre-show is 10 minutes long. It's Elias, Blake, and Murphy, who are going to be in I don't want to say a 3-man band gimmick because that's like a rock star gimmick together versus the Kingdom. This is going to be the Kingdom's debut. The Kingdom is Matt Taven, Mike Kanellis, or Michael Bennett, I guess, and Adam Cole. I had the Kingdom going over in that match. I left out one part that's kind of important to this show. So right now, WCW is being run roughshod by 2 opposing heel factions. The first one is called Dynasty. It's led by what?
No, keep going.
Okay, it's led by Roman Reigns, and it's got the Usos in it. So it's just those 3. But Roman Reigns is the current WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And then the next group is called 5. It is Ashley Flair, Tessa Blanchard, Carl Anderson, Joe Hennig, and Taylor Rotunda. And they have Arn Anderson as their manager. So the second match is a submission match. It's 15 minutes long, and it's Tessa Blanchard versus the Heartbreaker, Natalya Neidhart. I have Tessa going over in this match. And then, so the start of my pay-per-view is the WCW TV title match. It's a 6-man ladder match lasting 20 minutes. It's Kenny Omega versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Bryan Danielson versus Chad Gable versus Tommy End versus Jeff Jarrett. I have Tommy End winning that match.
And for people who realize who Tommy End is, you want
Aleister Black.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, Black. Not to cut you off, Travis, but I'm gonna add in Raul to the conversation.
What's up, bitch?
But you can keep talking. He's not in yet. I'm calling him, but
He's
it's
not
Raul.
picking up. There he is.
What's up,
There
bitch?
we go.
There we go.
There you go. All right. I'm gonna
Alright.
do audio only because I got to go and get food. So
That's all we ever do.
We all only.
If you were
ever do
ever on
audio.
our
If
show,
were
you would
looking,
know that.
If you're looking at the Twitch feed, you would know that
Bro, I
there
just
is
got to my
that
fucking
there is
room.
a cool titles thing on that has our
Anyway.
faces on it.
I know it's a pretty cool thing. I barely got to my
well,
room.
you know,
I just got to my room.
just got to his room. Anyways, Travis, you were booking here, sir.
Yeah, thank you. What even was my last match? Did you guys hear who my winner was?
It was Tessa.
Tommy End.
Tessa
Tommy End.
Bland, or Tommy End. Yeah.
Yeah. So I changed a lot of the names because I feel like they wouldn't have the same names if it was WCW.
Maybe the WCW would have just given him sillier names.
Maybe. You don't know.
Who the fuck
No.
even cares
It's
about
like-
WCW?
That's
Well, if
what
you knew what
we're
we were fucking
doing.
you
doing.
know what we were doing, Raul. If you were
Yeah.
looking at the Twitch,
Raul.
you would see that we were doing if WCW won the war.
Oh.
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 Yeah,
Well, I'll
that's
tell you
why we
one
give
thing.
a fuck about WCW.
I'll tell you one thing. Sting would be a bigger name.
True. Now let me get on with
Yeah.
my booking.
All right.
So the next match is a singles match. It's 10 minutes long. It is John Cena versus Goldberg. I have Goldberg going over.
Of course.
Spear.
Oh.
Jackhammer. 1, 2, 3.
After one
my next
spear
match is
and
a-
jackhammer.
Yes. It's Goldberg. Super Cena doesn't have anything
But
on
it's
Super
Cena.
Goldberg. Super Cena has nothing on Super
There
Goldberg.
is no Super Cena at this point. It's Super Goldberg.
True.
You don't
I
even
mean, I
need
still-
to say super. It's just Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
Who do you think would win the fight? Bill Goldberg or Goldberg from Mighty Ducks? 3.
Bill Goldberg.
Bill
I love how
Goldberg.
you specify. I love how you specify Mighty Ducks
Mighty
3.
Ducks
as
3
in-
because he's the oldest in that at that point. I don't want to see
Yeah.
Goldberg beating up like a 10-year-old little Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Raul, Mighty Ducks 3, that's a real movie.
Yeah.
Have you done Mighty Ducks 3 on any of your 1,000 podcasts?
No, because I don't like fun movies. I only like serious, depressing things, according to Brad.
That is true. You do only like serious, depressing things. Travis, what's your next match?
Where was I at? Goldberg, John Cena?
Goldberg, John Cena.
WCW Tag Team Title match. It's a triple threat tag team match. It's between the Usos versus Joe Hennig and Taylor Rotunda versus the Briscoes. And I actually have the Usos retaining their titles in this match.
Fuck.
Hey, this is a
Okay.
family program. Leave that language out of here.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's because the place is closed. I can't get something to eat then.
Oh, man. Maybe you should have thought of that before it closed.
Yeah, well, I just got out of class, you asshole.
Boy, this is such great podcasting. I'm so
Wait,
glad that he called
Which one
in.
is Taylor Rotunda?
It's Bo
Yeah, who-
Dallas
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Dallas. Okay.
and Joe
I
Hennig
forget
is
which one is
Curtis
which.
Axel.
Okay. I got the Curtis one, but I couldn't remember which Rotunda is which.
Is there a 4 horsemen?
Yeah, it's 5.
You have 5 horsemen?
Chingada.
Their name isn't the Four Horsemen. Their name is simply 5. It's Ashley Flair, Tessa Blanchard, Carl Anderson, Joe Hennig, Taylor Rotunda, and then they have Arn Anderson as their manager.
Alright. That's acceptable. Now, the real question is, what role does Disco Inferno play?
I don't know.
How are you gonna have a WCW if WCW won the war and not have Disco Inferno at least running the place? Because we all know Disco
Thank you
Inferno
so
was
much.
taken
He
over.
wants to keep.
Forgot my ID upstairs.
He wants to keep the place
Forgot
open.
my ID upstairs. My ID
Boy,
upstairs.
what great podcasting, guys!
Bro,
So
shut the fuck up.
professional.
Why is Raul echoing?
Raul.
I just hear him. Is that your stick?
Yes, it's my
Raul.
stick.
Why are you hitting it so hard?
That's what happens when you're trying to move around.
Are you beating Ronda Rousey up in there?
Dude, I went to check downstairs if the food was open, and it wasn't open. Now I'm coming back trying to feel my way
And he
to
forgot
see
his
where I'm
key.
walking, okay?
This is a dangerous ass sport here.
This is a podcast, guys. Let's keep in mind, this is a
That's the,
podcast. This is
Well,
the beauty of
That means they
live.
can't see either.
That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it being live.
Yeah, it's live, but it's also going to be to tape. Oh, and look at those dogs. Can we get an interview with those dogs?
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
man.
Raul, ask those dogs what their favorite movie is.
Ask them what their favorite wrestler is.
No, they already went into the freaking elevator.
Why are
It's
there
the
dogs
British
in your
Bulldog.
at your school building?
Yeah,
Because
why
they're
are there
loud
dogs
dogs.
in your
You're allowed
school?
dogs in the dorm.
Well, they
Yeah.
allow Raul, so.
That's true.
Well,
All
whatever.
right, Pride Pie
All right.
Chavy T. What's going on? What's
All right,
your
so
next booking?
my next match is a U.S. title match, 2 out of 3 falls, and it's a 30-minute match. It's
Boy,
the
he
champion.
could at least put himself on mute for a whole minute.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right.
We hear every single step.
Oh my God.
There we go.
I muted
Oh
him.
yes, thank you, thank you,
Uh,
thank you.
Raul's in timeout.
Fuck
He's
you,
gonna-
Raul.
so it's a 30-minute match, and it's got the champion AJ Styles versus Karl Anderson. AJ Styles wins the first fall, and then Karl Anderson wins the next 2. He's the new TV champion, or U.S. champion. I'm sorry, TV champion with somebody else, Tommy End. My next match is a 15-minute match. It's a singles match, and this match has a little bit more story to it. So, as I said before, well, let me tell you who it is. It's The Rock versus DDP. So,
The People's Champ versus the People's Champ.
The People's Champ versus People's Champ.
I thought the
Yeah,
Rock.
I thought the Rock
retired.
retired.
he did.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
It's what?
He's
it's one
okay.
night.
So
One night only.
you know how Sting is the guy that the man that never worked for Vince, or he was for so long.
Yeah, he eventually
So-
decided to do that.
That's the thing. He's not now, obviously. But The Rock, that was basically he was in the Sting role. They kept trying, couldn't get him to come. He wasn't wrestling, but he was still the box office success he is now. You know what I mean? He's still the biggest guy in Hollywood. Well, for whatever reason, he finally comes back. He comes back during a segment between Diamond Dallas Page and Roman Reigns. What's so fucking funny?
The fact
Why
that
is Diamond Dallas Page still wrestling?
DDP's like
He
60.
came back. He came back.
All right, he came back. So
Yeah,
Okay.
he came back to set up this match, but the kayfabe reason for him coming back was trying to show that you're never too old to accomplish what you want. Nothing can stand behind you. He's like a real inspirational gimmick right now.
it's true WCW fashion
So
just to
he's
bring in the
doing
old
the-
guys.
Exactly.
It is true. Yeah.
This is so
very
WCW.
WCW of you. Yeah.
So he comes back, and the thing is, he's in a feud with Roman Reigns.
Is now in this universe is DDP? Is he doing DDP yoga?
Yes. That's why he's an inspirational gimmick.
Ah, that makes sense.
DDP yoga and everything.
But
It's all a thing.
I get it, but DDP's no fun unless DDP's yelling about feeling the bang.
Well, he can still do that.
You feel the bang,
And
maybe?
does that make you feel better, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't
So-
loud enough.
And you feel the bang.
Can you feel the bucket?
Sorry.
We should use that.
We're
should
gonna
use
forget
that.
it. Just like every time we come up with the one during the episode, we always forget it, and none of us go back to listen to it.
I listen to it, but I don't listen to it before we do it again. I listen to it the day it comes out.
I don't.
Says the guy who's supposed to be editing.
I edit if there's something to edit, but we do it in one take. But
Oh my god.
I'm even gonna leave Raul in
Anywho.
there.
Wait, speaking of him, are we gonna unmute him
Oh
ever?
yeah, you can unmute him and see if he's alive. Ask him if he stopped moving around. Anyways, go ahead with your booking.
Okay, sorry. So basically, it's Roman and the Usos in the ring. They're surrounding Diamond Dallas Page, and they say they have one more surprise for him. And then The Rock's music hits. His classic WB music hits. The crowd goes crazy. He comes out. He hits the ring. He does his little spiel with his catchphrases and yada yada yadas. And then Roman and the Usos put their fists in the air, like their forearms together up in the air, because that's gonna be their like signature thing, to The Rock to get him to do the same thing. And he just turns them down. He says he's not here for them. He's not here to be to join the dynasty. He's not here to do anything other than prove once and for all something that's been bothering him for Raul left. But something that's been bothering him.
I had to remove him to add him back in. But keep going.
Okay. Fuck. Where's that? To prove something to himself that he's been waiting 20 years to find out. Who is the People's Champion? So, it's Rocky versus DDP. This is basically Sting versus Triple H, but WCW version. Except Rock goes over.
DDP should go over.
Now, DDP puts him over, and then also before the match, I forgot to mention this part. This was a number 1 contenders match for the world title. So it'll be...
Yeah, that is very WCW of you.
What, to say it after it's over? Oh, yeah, by the way.
Well,
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
yeah. That and the fact that you would bring The Rock in and make him the number 1 contender when he's literally never wrestled for him. It's both, I guess, yeah.
It's good business. You could have the biggest box office attraction in the world on your roster, and he's already got wrestling experience and has been a multi-time world champion for another company, and he's over. Why not?
True.
So, but
saying it after the match happened would be WCW. Like a week later, be like, oh, by the way, that match was for the number 1 contender.
It would be Tony Schiavone.
Wait, what?
It would be Tony Schiavone. We found out that last week that match was for the number 1 contendership.
Oh yeah.
It will be the greatest moment in our great sport. Go ahead.
My commentary team is Tony Schiavone, Corey Graves, and Vampiro.
Why Vampiro?
Because I fuck with him.
Why Vampiro?
Oh.
When did he come back?
Apparently just now.
Like 30
he came
seconds
back
ago.
just to say Vampiro.
Yeah, no. Hold up. I got kicked out. I don't know why, but
you don't know why?
Internet. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say something. Can I say one thing before I go? Because I'm gonna have to go already.
You just got here.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
Well, what do you want?
Okay. I just wanted to say with your DDP booking, really, if WCW would have won the war, and if we put that out there, would DDP have actually gotten that bigger? You know, you have an influx of wait, hold up. You have an influx of new talent that we're gonna rise up in there because WCW.
Did you hear? Wait. Did you hear who wasn't on the roster?
No, I didn't hear that, bro. I was in class.
That's what I'm saying. All the big names didn't go to WCW.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Why? The same thing that happened in real life.
No, because if they would have won the war, then obviously the WWF superstars would have needed to find work somewhere.
No, Stone Cold retired.
Indies could have popped up.
Hold on. Shut up, Mike. Yeah. Let me just tell them what happened. Stone Cold retired. Triple H starts his own promotion. The Rock retires and pursues his film career. Chris Jericho pursues music and does sporadic indie appearances. Brock Lesnar retires and pursues a football career. And Kurt Angle pursues MMA and does sporadic indie appearances.
Okay. Well, damn. All right.
So
well,
there you go. I answered those questions already.
Can I get one booking in there before I leave?
Sure.
All right. There's only one match that needs to happen in WCW versus WWF if WWF would have won the war.
WWF did win the war.
did win.
Well, WWF did win the war.
I'm sorry, if
but...
WCW would have won the war, WCW would have done anything to absorb the biggest name, and that would have been The Rock. They would have put all the money on the table for The Rock to come to WCW, and we would have had WCW, one of the biggest matches. We would have had Sting versus Rock.
Well, it all depends on when at that point too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think he would have went.
If there was
enough money on the table, you probably would have gone.
Because he wasn't doing movies at that point.
Like, he was doing movies. He's been in movies since 1998.
But he wasn't like a movie star.
No, but he was trying to.
Yeah. I'm just saying that, you know, if the movie stuff didn't have, he had the movie stuff, but he also had a really big offer from Eric Bischoff saying, okay, we're going to give you a big contract. You're going to come over here, and your first match, you have your big match, and we're going to have Sting versus The Rock.
They could have given him movie roles like they did with Hogan.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Ted Turner would have put him in everything.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying with the big enough, with a big enough contract, he probably would have made his way over there. And I would book for The Rock and Sting, to not finish in a no contest, but a disqualification, and then they'd go more deeper into it. Like you were in the loser company. You don't know what the big success is. I'm the one who's carried this company for as long as it's been alive, and The Rock and Sting ended all in a Hell in a Cell. Yeah, my booking's terrible, but I'm not.
Wait! You're gonna put them in Hell in a Cell?
Yeah.
If WCW
that's a WWE match.
You could put them
Hell in a Cell.
You could put them in. I mean, you would just do a cage match,
Thunderdome.
Really, or a Thunderdome.
Like a cage match.
Thunderdome or something.
Thunderdome, yeah. Just let him go all in. Sting is crawling under Rock's skin, just constantly telling him he's a loser. You left the movie contract.
I don't see Sting. I don't see Sting doing that. Like Sting,
Sting heel.
Is Sting the heel? But even heel Sting at this point wasn't like that. Like he's not that type of. He doesn't talk trash.
Are we doing fantasy booking? Or are we gonna just put like history in here too?
We're doing realistic fantasy booking, but yeah.
You gotta have some.
Otherwise, I would just have like fucking Triple H beat everybody on the roster.
Wins every single match that ever existed. Every match is Triple H in a gauntlet match, and he beats 15 people in a row.
I'm just saying. I would work the booking for Sting to just bring out the cold hard facts. Is that WCW won the war, Rock was from the loser company, and obviously it's not working out for Rock, and he put out putting out the insults like, you left a big movie contract where you could have gotten big, but instead you decided to stay in here and come in acting like you're the best shit off the circuit, and you're not. Because I'm Sting, and I am WCW. Because Sting was WCW. I mean, people can go ahead and make the argument for Hogan, but I mean, I think
Sting was who would be making the argument?
WCW.
There's nobody gonna make the argument that Hogan was WCW. Hogan was WWF.
Dude, there's some people who are crazy.
WCW.
There are people who are crazy about Hogan enough to say that he made WCW better. But
I mean, to be fair,
he made them
bigger, and technically, better because that's when they have their biggest ratings. But he wasn't WCW. If anything, it was
them
Sting
better for like a 2-month, 2 year.
Sting and Flair.
Sting and Flair are the two that you look at when you say, "Hey, these two are WCW."
Yeah, that's my booking, and I'd end it there and just Sting beats The Rock, and The Rock would just continue on to a different storyline after that. I'd probably go with Flair, because I don't know how you would put the Rock in WCW with anybody else but a big name.
Travi, are you gonna let him just come in here and book over your booking?
I don't fucking care. He can just leave.
I am gonna leave.
I'm just waiting for this to be over.
All right, it's over. By the way, I love you guys.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Fuck you guys, man. Yeah. All right. Whatever, guys.
Family program.
All right. We're getting kicked off the Nerdcore podcast group this week. That was.
If I didn't kick you off for your disabled joke, if I didn't kick you guys off
I didn't make a disabled joke.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't make a joke.
I'm looking at the undefeated champ.
I didn't make the joke. I didn't make the joke. Travis did.
The champ says what the champ wants.
Right. Well, the champ better watch it.
The champ, he is the champ. I made him champion.
I think you better watch it.
All right. Well, whatever.
Wait till
all right, I'll see you guys later.
Go ahead. Later.
All right. Later, guys. You guys doing a great job. I love you guys. Yeah. Fun episodes. I'm glad that Kevin's in the midst of all this. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
She'd be blaming you right now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm signing off. I'll leave you guys. But one thing, Travi is undefeated, and Damone, I like your booking, but Travis is the champ.
Even though you've literally voted against him every single week.
He's sucking up to Travis. He's sucking up to everyone now. He's like,
yeah.
Nah.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right. Whatever.
Kick him out.
All right. So,
Travis, please finish your booking.
Okay, I'm gonna. Jesus Christ, you act like he just fucking didn't take over this whole thing. Like,
I didn't say that. I'm saying I'm just saying you should keep going.
I'm just letting you know because I got a surprise for this, and one of my tricks up my sleeve.
Raul comes back. You make Raul.
no, and like, but like this is gonna be our longest episode ever.
Oh, let's not. I'm trying to go to bed. We cut a whole podcast off.
One's gonna have to be 5 minutes long. So my third to last match is a Mox Pit match. It's John Moxley.
Match? Oh Jesus Christ!
Versus one half of the Millionaires.
The Millionaires.
The tag team. Which is going to be
okay. Which is
$1 Million Miz.
Oh.
And Ted DiBiase
WCW.
Does he come out? Wait. Can I pick their WCW manager?
I already have one, but yeah, sure.
Who'd you pick?
Ted DiBiase Sr.
Oh, see, I would have picked Alex Wright.
Who?
Alex Wright.
Okay.
He was like.
Well, you would have picked Alex wrong.
He was like this German greaser disco dancing. Everybody's disco dancing apparently in WCW.
I was gonna say like what?
If it's not Disco Inferno, it's not right.
Anyway, so John Moxley's character is kind of like a mix of his Lunatic Fringe character mixed with Raven, mixed with I don't know. He's just kind of crazy, right? But he's a babyface, and he's like pretty over with the crowd. And he's the polar opposite to the $1 Million Men.
Or
millionaire,
polar
whatever.
opposite.
Yeah, and he's bipolar too. Ha ha ha. So obviously, John Moxley's gonna win the Mox Pit match. It's named after him.
What's the stipulation of the Mox?
It's just it's like Raven's Rules or just a street fight.
Just a street fight.
Yeah, it's just
a street fight. You just put your name on it, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's like when they have like the Christmas themed ones. It's like a Christmas or like Halloween, like Nightmare on Elm Street fight.
Yeah.
Like just random, like it's a street fight, but they just put a random name on it.
But that way, they kind of becomes synonymous with John Moxley. That he's a street fighter. He just does whatever. He's crazy. You know what I mean? He's a lunatic.
How long did it take you to come? Did you come up with the name Mox Pit first, or did you come up with the entrance and then figure Mox Pit?
No. Well, I knew I wanted him. Okay,
You're like, I just want to call something a mox pit.
I did Miz versus no. I did Miz versus Ambrose. But then I was like, I'm not going to call him Ambrose. I'm going to call him Moxley. And then I was like, well, when he was Moxley, he was like CZW. He was doing that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I'm going to do like the a Raven, like make him like Raven almost. And then I was trying to think of what to call the match, and I was like Mox Pit. And then I kind of developed his character more from there. Cool?
Uh-huh.
All right. My co-main event is WCW World Heavyweight Championship match. It's a singles match. It's 15 minutes long, and it is Roman Reigns versus the Icon, Sting. So, Roman Reigns wins, clearly. So it'll be Roman Reigns versus The Rock at a later date.
Well, you can't really say clearly because it's WCW, so there's always that possibility
You're
the
right.
old guy goes over.
You're right. So
Sting would make Roman tap.
Yeah. The main event is the WCW Women's Championship match. It is a singles match. It's 20 minutes long. It is Ashley Flair, the defending champion, with Arn Anderson, versus Ronda Rousey with Travis Brown in her corner. I let this match be basically about the women, but there is a spot or two where Arn Anderson and Travis Brown get into it. Arn Anderson hits a spine buster on him, and then on Travis Brown, and then Travis Brown ends up knocking Arn Anderson out. Later, like, those are two separate spots. And then Ronda Rousey beats Ashley Flair with a armbar. But wait, there's more. As my special surprise,
tell me more. Go ahead.
I booked Next Generation Wrestling, The Takeover Genesis 2018. So this is Triple H's show. It's only 5 matches. Don't calm down. Its tag team title match is Young Bucks versus Revival, with the Young Bucks winning. This next match is a submission match. It's Chris Jericho versus Kurt Angle, with Kurt Angle winning. The third match is a singles match. It is King Paul Levesque versus the Reaper, Mark Calloway. The Reaper goes over, and it's his final match ever.
Then you call it the Reaper.
The Reaper, because I can't call him the Undertaker because WCW owns it.
Owns the rights to the Undertaker. Yep. So,
the NGW World Title match is a 6-pack challenge between Fergal Divot, Shinsuke Nakamura, Pac, El Generico, Tyler Black, and Samoa Joe. I have Pac going over just because Mike says I never book him to lose.
So you have him going over again?
Yep.
That doesn't make sense.
Why does that not make sense?
It's out of spite. Out of spite. He's going to always have him win. Out of spite. He's gonna always
I thought we were
win.
doing realistic booking.
Pac could win that match.
Realistically,
I would book him to lose to.
You got to think.
Any other.
You got to think. Hold on. Well, that's because you're a freaking idiot. But anyway, you got to think that the takeover or this company would be more akin to TNA than it would be WB. Because essentially Triple H filled out the Jeff Jarrett role. Anyway, the main event of this show is also a women's match, but Triple H was more on the women's bandwagon before WCW was, much like TNA was before WWE was. But it's a street fight between Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, and Becky Lynch wins. Finn.
Okay.
Any comments?
No.
I like it. I like the idea of Triple H running his own show.
Thank you.
his own company, essentially. What's Vince doing though in your world?
Working out.
Like, did he just like die or
taking lots of steroids?
He's the president?
Yeah, he's the president, yes. He's probably, I mean, honestly, he probably got a job at like a TV studio or something. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. What is Eric Bischoff doing right now? What's Ted Turner doing right now? That's the important question.
Is Ted Turner still alive? Every once in a while I look it up, and I think he is still kicking.
I think he is still alive.
So. I will Google it.
Pretty sure he is still alive.
I'm pretty sure as well, but we'll find out. Well, he's worth $2.2 billion, so I hope he's still alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, he's 80 years old. Jesus.
What the fuck do I think he's older than that? Because he always looked older.
He's been around forever and a half. All right. So, Damone, your turn.
Okay, so pretty much I'm gonna have it where the WCW ends up taking over in about 2001. The whole Mick Foley that'll put asses in the seat incident never happens. WWF is never able to turn the tide. WCW pretty much wins the ratings war. There's no AOL buyout or anything like that. So it's 2001. WCW wins the Monday Night War. WWE is forced to close its doors. Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner, WCW, buy out the contracts of all the top stars of WWF. So Austin, The Rock, Taker, Kane, and Triple H all go to WCW. But Mick Foley, because he has issues with Eric Bischoff from the past, he ends up refusing to go to WCW and just retires to write books and do his comedy stuff instead. The unfortunate thing, because it's WCW, a lot of the guys who left for WWF end up like Jericho and Guerrero and Mysterio, as opposed to what happened in their WWE career where all those guys reached the top. They go back to WCW, but they pretty much just end back up in the mid card, never able to get the top of the card. Eventually, like a year after Jericho is like, screw this, I'll just go do music. And he goes to Fozzy full time and makes sporadic appearances around the world doing like indie shows and stuff. But he isn't consistently wrestling. He's pretty much just focused on Fozzy. So Vince ends up getting hired by WCW as a producer, doing backstage work, having to work for Eric Bischoff. But eventually, like, that doesn't work out. They butt heads because it's Vince, and Vince is gonna want to be. He's a control freak, so is Eric Bischoff. Eventually, Vince leaves, and he ends up eventually working for and eventually ends up running New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Vince is running New Japan. So I'm booking. I know Travis just did 2018. I'm booking the WCW Starrcade right after WCW takes over. So WCW takes over Starrcade 2001 or 2002. It would be 2002 Starrcade. It's held in New York City at Madison Square Garden, which used to be WWF territory. They had a stronghold on it, but WWF's dead now. So the only other unfortunately, the other thing with WCW taking over, there's really no women's revolution because unfortunately WCW pretty much didn't do anything with their women's division.
Not at all. They literally had a belt for
over.
They had a belt for like not even 6 months, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, and it was like never defended, and like they didn't do anything with it.
But unfortunately, it could have changed. Well, never mind. You're not doing modern, so I'm just gonna shut up.
No, I'm not doing modern. Like eventually, it could have happened, but it would be a way slower process because at least WWE or WWF, WWE put some focus into their women's division with Trish and Lita and like Tori and like Victoria. They put some effort into it. WCW didn't care at all. So the card is gonna go as follows. So the first match I'm gonna have is gonna be Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho for the cruiserweight title. So Eddie's gonna win the title after Mysterio goes in as the champion. Eddie's gonna win the title after a frog splash. But immediately after this match, this is Jericho's last match in the company. He's like, screw this. I didn't go to WWF. I went to WWF because of this, being stuck at this point in the card. Screw this. I'm done. I'm just going to go focus on music. So Jericho's gone, pretty much. So the next match is going to be the Natural Born Thrillers versus the Acolytes. So JBL and Ron Simmons. So the Natural Born Thrillers are going to win that match. So the next match is going to be Norman Smiley. For our younger people, I don't know if you remember him. You probably do, Mike, right? Norman Smiley? Especially since you've been watching a lot of WCW.
Mike.
Mike.
What?
Are you asleep?
You alive?
No, I was checking something. What's up?
Are you
Norman
listening?
Smiley. You pay attention. Norman Smiley. Do you remember
I know who
him?
Norman Smiley is. He trains at the Performance Center.
It sounds familiar.
He's a black guy.
Oh, I don't look at life through that lens.
Shut the fuck up. Guess what? Damon is also a black guy.
I am.
Again, I don't see that. I don't see life through that lens.
Well, Google Norman Smiley. He was a hardcore
him.
champion in WCW. Like he was, but he was a comedy gimmick. Like he was probably like 5'8", 160 pounds. But he was mostly a comedy guy.
Trained by Karl Gotch, Boris Malenko, and Dean Malenko.
Yeah, but he was mostly a comedy guy. But he like held the hardcore title in WCW for a while. So I am going to have him in a match versus the debuting Brock Lesnar with his manager, Paulie Dangerously. So obviously ECW is dead at this point as well. So Paulie Dangerously is going to come out with Brock Lesnar. It's going to be like a 5-minute match. Smiley's going to just get destroyed by Brock.
Hey, 1 second.
Hitting him with weapons and stuff.
1 second. I forgot to say something during mine, and you reminded me just now. So ECW goes out of business in mine still, but they don't get bought out by WCW, and Paul Heyman never shows up in WCW. He never goes to WCW because him and Eric Bischoff hate each other, and Eric Bischoff's running the company, so on and so forth. So ECW ends up making a resurgence too later down the line. Okay. I will not interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Okay. So Norman Smiley gets destroyed by Brock in like under 5 minutes. Norman like hits him with, it's a hardcore match because it's for the hardcore title. So he hits like Brock with kendo sticks and it pretty much does no damage. And Brock hits a couple of Germans, F5, match over. Brock's the new champion. So for my fourth match, we're going to have the Brothers of Destruction, Taker and Kane, versus Sting and Vampiro in a Human Torch match.
Sting and Vampiro. What is with Vampiro being put into such, like... Anyway,
because Vampiro was a key point of WCW. He was like one of the main guys. He was one of the young guns.
See, when I think of Vampiro, I think of
Lucha Underground.
No. Yeah. Well, there's that. But see, when I think of Vampiro, and I knew Vampiro was a wrestler, obviously, but every time I think of Vampiro, I associate him with the Insane Clown Posse, so it makes him unserious, 100%.
Didn't he have a super like brutal feud with Sting?
He had like a 6-month feud with Sting, like a really big deal feud with Sting, which is where I got the idea from this match because they had a Human Torch match, which the whole idea of a Human Torch match is you have to set the other person on fire. So it's kind of like the Inferno match, but instead of the ropes being on fire, you literally set them on fire. Because Vampiro set Sting on fire during there, and like they had a whole graveyard match and everything. They had like a good like 6-month feud. So like Vampiro was a real deal at that point. So Brothers of Destructions versus Vampiro and Sting. So Kane and Taker are gonna win, but it's gonna be after Vampiro eventually. In my scenario, Sting is being like a mentor almost to Vampiro because they're both like masters of the dark art, I guess if you want to call it that. So Vampiro turns on Sting and he ends up lighting Sting on fire to help Taker and Kane win the match. And at least the Vampiro and Sting having a longer feud going forward. So for my 5th match is going to be Team Madness, which was Randy Orton and Sting, or not Randy Orton, Randy Savage and Sting.
I think Randy...
or not Sting, Randy Savage and Sid.
Why
I don't know
we're
why I
not
can't
getting
say
Randy
those
Orton and Randy Savage? We need to get a Randy team.
Randy team. Randy Savage and Sid are gonna face off against the New Age Outlaws for the WCW tag team titles.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because
You think
I like
someone
Randy
wanted to see
Savage
that
and
match?
Sid.
You like
Well,
Sid?
the New Age. I like Sid. Yeah,
I didn't know anybody liked Sid.
I like Sid. I like Sid. Honestly, probably when I was like 8 years old, Sid was one of my favorite wrestlers.
I'm not sure which is worse, Sid or X-Pac. Definitely Sid.
No, X-Pac. Sid's a former world heavyweight champion.
But
One of the greatest power bombs of all time. I'm not saying
X-Pac
like,
is one of the greatest
mic
wrestlers
skills
of all
were
time.
terrible.
And his mic skills were also terrible.
Yeah, Sid's mic skills were not great, but it helped. His whole character was that he was a psychopath and crazy.
He was just
So
bad.
him
No, he was
doing
just the worst.
crazy.
I never found any appeal in
Debatable,
Sid
but
at all.
I just like the psychopath character. I don't know. I liked it. And he had great power. He had probably, arguably, the best power bomb of all time.
Yeah, it could definitely be argued.
So
for
real quick,
anyone else.
Damone.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Sting and Vampiro again, it gave me this memory that I've been trying to find on fucking video of that I have. One of my few WCW memories is of Vampiro either pulling Sting. I'm pretty sure he pulled him down through the ring and then popped his head back up. And that was the end of the show. Do you remember this?
I do slightly remember that.
Okay, because I can't find it, and I've looked multiple times, and I don't know what the fuck, if I'm going crazy or what.
I also, or it might have been into a grave, because they had a weird graveyard match where
Would that have
they
been
were
on
literally
Nitro?
Yeah, probably because WCW loved putting shit that should have been on the pay-per-view on Nitro. Like they did freaking Goldberg versus Hogan on Nitro.
Yeah, well, they would do that to try to bring
Beat
the people
Raw,
in.
which is
right.
Yeah, which ultimately was dumb because it made your pay-per-views shit. Because I already saw that match. Why the fuck would I buy your pay-per-view?
Yeah, it's not the graveyard match, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Team Madness, which is Savage, which we all love Savage, and Sid. You have your opinions on Sid versus the New Age Outlaws, who are one of the most over teams of the Attitude Era. So we're gonna have for the tag team titles. So we're gonna have Team Madness. They're gonna win after a Sid power bomb and then a Macho Man elbow drop. And they're gonna get the win and retain their titles. So for my 6th match, we are going to have your U.S. champion Triple H versus DDP. So we're gonna have Triple H versus Diamond Dallas Page.
What?
So Triple H is going to. It's the battle of the three leathers. So Triple H is going to retain after debuting Stephanie McMahon, low blows DDP when the ref is down, and then Triple H hits the pedigree to retain. So in my world, Triple H and Stephanie do still get married, have beautiful kids, and everything.
Except this time he has a male. They give birth to a male to take his place because he has all daughters.
I guess that's true.
He has all daughters.
I'm sure. Now. Oh my God, that's gonna if his kids do wrestle, they're gonna be probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Move over, Charlotte.
I don't know. Charlotte Flair.
They got Helmsley Dream. They got Helmsley jeans and McMahon jeans.
Right. But
and they're gonna get personal influence from Flair, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and X-Pac.
Okay,
and Randy Orton.
But Ric Flair, in his DNA, has super soldier serum that he passes along to Charlotte. So,
well, little did you know that. I don't even know what I was going to say.
Yeah, all right.
But little did you know that Triple H is actually, what's his face's son? Ric Flair's son.
The Terminator?
Yeah, him too. I don't know. I'm just talking shit. I'm tired, man.
Okay, so Triple H is going to win after Stephanie comes out, helps him win. He retains the title. So my 7th match is going to be The Rock versus Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. So we got The Rock and Big Papa Pump go 1-on-1. It's a decent match. Steiner can be great, and then he can be really bad. So hopefully this is one of those times where he's really good. But he is going to end up winning the title. He's going to end up winning the match, not for the title, after he hits The Rock with the lead pipe when the ref is down, and then he hits a Steiner flatliner to beat The Rock. So for my 8th match, and I'm going to get real WCW with it, we are going to have Eric Bischoff versus Jim Ross in a street fight.
Oh my God.
So
how many matches do you have?
I have
11.
Jesus.
You have 11?
11.
I mean, I
how
did 10 on my Starcade and then 5 on the other. 15 total, but 10 and 5.
Yeah, so 11's not that bad.
No.
So, and this is going to be a pretty quick match. This is not going over
Christ.
like 7 minutes. So Bischoff is the lead up to it. Bischoff has been embarrassing JR. JR's the head play-by-play guy for WCW Thunder, but Bischoff's been like riding him, just mocking him.
Who's the head on Nitro?
It'd just be the normal Shivani and
Okay. Well, make
I'm
sure.
not drawing the blank his name. Yeah.
I mean, Mike Tenay.
Mike Tenay, yeah.
It
Tenay
has to be Mike Tenay because
like
everybody else he fucking worked with. Who else? He had
Mongo.
Mongo McMichael, but then there was what's his name? Zbyszko. Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah. Larry Zbyszko, yeah. So, but yeah, he's been riding JR for months. JR eventually snaps. He punches Eric. Eric says, okay, we're going to have a match. There's going to be a street fight. But at JR, if you lose, you're fired. So pretty much Eric Bischoff, because he apparently knows karate or whatever, just pretty much mocks and beats the shit out of JR for a good amount. But eventually JR low blows him, uses some weapons, but eventually Eric Bischoff JR gets some shots in, pops the crowd a little bit. But eventually Eric turns the tide with a kick. It looks like he's gonna go for get the win, and then Route comes out running Jerry the King Lawler. He pile drives Bischoff, and then he puts JR on top of Eric Bischoff for the 1-2-3. So JR gets to keep his job.
Whoa! Fancy.
Ooh. So for my So for my 9th match, we're gonna have Kurt Angle versus Goldberg. So Goldberg is gonna hit a spear, but when he goes for the jackhammer, Kurt is able to get out of it and eventually gets the ankle lock. Goldberg is able to power his way to the ropes. Throughout the match, Kurt works the ankle. It's one of Goldberg's longer matches. Mostly of it's going to be Kurt doing most of the work, just beating the crap out of Goldberg's leg. Eventually, Goldberg is able to break free, hits a spear, jackhammer, win. Classic Goldberg for the most part. Goldberg wins. So for match number 10 is going to be Hall and Nash versus Edge and Christian. And that is going to have Hall and Nash win because it's Hall and Nash and we're in WCW. So for my last and final match is going to be Hollywood Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WCW World Heavyweight title. So Austin is going. It's going to be about a 20-minute match. Austin is going to kick out of 2 leg drops by Hogan. Hogan's pissed. He goes to pick up Austin to body slam him again. But Austin is able to counter, hit a stunner, but Hogan manages to kick out. The NWO Platinum comes out, so it's made up of Hall, Nash, Triple H, Scott Steiner, and Eric Bischoff. They come out to help Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan. They beat down Austin. So Hogan retains via no contest. So we're getting a dusty finish. And then they spray paint NWO and Austin to end the night. But on the next night, Austin calls out the NWO and Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff is the only one to come out. He is like, no, I'm not giving you a rematch. You had your chance. Nope. Austin stunners Eric Bischoff and then gets out of there before the NWO can come out and help Eric. And this all leads to an Austin versus Bischoff saga, similar to Austin versus McMahon. Finn-ish.
Don't say Finn.
Finn.
Guess what?
Finn.
Guess what, Mike? I'm living the dream.
Oh yeah. All right.
He wants you to be a dick and steal my gimmick.
Wow.
Too bad you can't steal this title from around my waist.
It's true. His
It's
8-bit
okay,
character
it's
has a
paper.
title.
The paper championship, though.
It's a
Paper
it's
champion.
digital championship. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, I had an idea for what would H do, and I forgot what it was. It was a good one though. So,
Why didn't you write these down?
I was at work. I was
You don't have a
doing
cell
things.
phone?
I can't pull my cell phone out of work, and I was in the middle of doing stuff. Oh wow, I can't believe I can't remember what it was. It was.
Wait,
Did you work in a place surrounded with paper?
That's why. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I do, but not if I'm in the middle of doing a binding job, and I got a bunch of them, and I'm trying to do it, and then I remember something or lamination. I can't stop what I'm doing. I gotta keep going. I gotta go with the flow, and then hope I remember. Anyways, so.
What about the other one we talked about? The other segment we talked about?
Yeah. We're doing the
Yeah.
Guess the Wrestler.
Guess the Wrestler.
Oh. Yeah, we could do that. But.
So while you're figuring out who you're gonna do, me and Travis will fill the air, and we'll do our promote
That's
stuff
fine, do that.
like now. So Travis, do you want to promote your stuff?
Sure. Same thing it always is, guys. Yeah. Thinking about doing a YouTube channel. But that would be even less consistent, and it'd be short, 5 to 10 minute videos of stuff.
Well,
Also,
for the people who don't listen, who just
trigger warning with Travis Trimble Tuesdays and Thursdays
There you go.
sometimes.
Tuesdays and Thursdays sometimes.
It's whenever the fuck I feel like it. This isn't a job. They don't pay me to do this. I just do this because I can. This is the professional one we're on right now. The other one's just for fun. And then the third one is just because I don't like Damone to be sad.
Wow.
I actually really like it.
Yeah, I did feel like the debatable, yeah. Even though you missed it last week.
Yeah, I like it. I listened to it.
But
it wasn't it was good, but it wasn't as good as it would be with me there. Like you're missing a certain level of charisma.
I'm sure we are. There probably won't be a debatable this week because we didn't do it before this, and I really didn't have anything I wanted to debate this week so far. So
because Mike refuses to do any kind of politics.
Mike refuses to do what?
That doesn't help. Politics. That does not help.
It does
that
not
does
help.
narrow things down a lot.
I understand that, and I'm sorry, but
here's the thing: when we made the thing, we're like, we're going to be able to talk about politics and religion, and Mike's like, okay, and then we make it, and then Mike's like, nah, we're not doing either one of those.
Well, all right, listen, you could do it, just don't have me on that episode. I don't understand
You're
the
a
hard
host.
part. We also said when we were gonna do it, I would probably not do every episode. And that makes it okay because I'm not the host. I'm a co-host.
We'll bring Danielle on. She can argue with us.
Anyways, anyone
probably
else?
be a better.
I do have a couple more guests, like people who want to do it. It was just scheduling those. I got to figure out. But so there probably won't be one this week. But yeah, but there were two from the previous Wednesdays, last two Wednesdays ish. So go ahead and listen to those. Those are on all your podcast listening places, except for Apple, because for some reason Apple hates me for some reason.
Me too.
I knew you had trouble with Apple too, right?
I still don't have Apple.
Yeah, I don't have Apple, and I don't know why. Like, it doesn't tell you why they won't accept it. It just says, nah, you aren't good enough.
Is that everything you guys got?
Yeah,
Anything
pretty
else?
much.
All right. So we're gonna play Who's That Wrestler? And all right. So this wrestler, this wrestler here that I've got, he was trained by Bob Armstrong. He was a WCW homegrown talent.
Is his last name Armstrong?
His last name is not Armstrong.
Okay.
He was originally from Georgia, but was billed from Japan.
What?
He's originally from Georgia, but he was billed from Japan.
Can you give us some accomplishments?
Well, I'm sorry. He doesn't have very many. It is not Great Muda.
Okay.
Why would you pick him? Why would you pick someone with no accomplishments?
Because I'm trying.
That's fine. This is trying to make it hard so that we guess random ass people.
So I'm not fucking. He was.
Is it Norman Smiley?
He was WWF champion all of 1988.
Hey, hold on. Is it Kalisto?
Smiley. It's not Kalisto either.
Is it Kalisto?
Yeah, because Kalisto was in WCW.
That was a joke, Mike. I don't know if you understand what entertainment is.
I got the fucking
joke.
Or
comedy or anything.
I got the fucking joke. I got
Jesus Harold Christ. Is it Jesus Harold Christ?
It's not Jesus Harold Christ. His what was I gonna? No, I don't want to do that. That'll just give it away. His fighting style was supposed to be a martial arts fighting style, and they later abandoned that.
Wait, is it Glacier?
It is Glacier.
I would have never.
Well, you know what? I don't know what to tell you.
You could have said his name was Glacier. I'd have been like, was it Norman Smiley?
Look. Glacier.
Why would you pick that one?
Because you put me on the spot.
Why would you?
Because I wanted to, motherfucker. You got a goddamn problem with it?
Yes,
I like the way you did it, because at least you didn't pick like Ric Flair,
right.
where he's like he was a 16-time world champion.
That's fine. But
Hold on.
Hold on. Here's the problem with this. Here's my problem. You know I don't watch WCW.
Look,
So
you
not only did
wanted
you pick,
to do this fucking You're the one who was like, let's do
I didn't
WCW.
want.
So I assumed that some shit was happening where you somehow knew some WCW shit. I'm sorry.
Okay, but wait. Not only did you pick somebody that was WCW, you picked the most obscure.
No, he's
WCW
not
guy.
the most obscure. Glacier, if you talk WCW, most people know who Glacier was because it was one of the biggest fuck ups in WCW history was to have Glacier anywhere near the product.
Because they spent a shit ton of money on getting the rights to that stuff, and it just tanked.
They had they put so much into his promos and his fucking vignettes, and then it got trumped because the NWO came and completely fucked up everything, and it took him even longer to debut. And when he debuted, nobody gave a fuck.
So were there two different people that played him?
No, there was one person who played Glacier.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Because it says Kaz Hayashi, aka the second Glacier.
Let's see. Glacier.
There was a second Glacier.
Look up Kaz Hayashi.
Well, no. Glacier was Raymond Lloyd. He was the only one that was under Glacier for WCW. And he was from the power plant. And he was 6 foot.
Hold on.
And he was white.
It says, after unmasking, Hayashi joined WCW in 1998. Early on, he was relegated to a jobber and comedy character. He would be taken under the management of Sonny Ono. And even come to inherit Glacier's ceremonial armor and light show for a time.
Well, he never must have been considered Glacier because I'm looking at the Wikipedia. And it says nothing about him. Okay, well, so I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He entered a feud with Perry Saturn.
You know
Anyways,
what?
So
I'm gonna make you guess a wrestler. I'm gonna pick somebody from like the Ruthless. I'm gonna pick Kerwin White, and you're gonna be like, who?
All right. I'm sorry for trying to keep it with the theme. I tried a theme, motherfucker.
You could have picked a bigger name.
That whole thing was fucking weird because like the Mortis thing, like they literally tried to do Mortal Kombat.
It was
professional wrestling.
And you know who was able to pull it off? Lucha Underground.
Of course they were, but they weren't though. That's the thing, because they're not pulling anything off.
Now they're not. I don't even know if
they weren't before.
Season. The Lucha Underground?
No, they weren't lighting the world on fire.
The people who watched it thought they were.
Yes, that's great. They had a niche market.
First season
CCW has fans.
That first season was decent.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, the first season was okay.
Yeah, but Mike's acting like they really made it work. They really didn't.
They made it work better than fucking WCW did.
Well, WCW.
And they did a whole damn show about it.
How much money has Lucha Underground made?
I don't know. Why are you arguing with me about Lucha Underground? I didn't. Like, you're acting like I took the stance saying that Lucha
podcast, Mike.
You're sitting there acting like I took the stance that Lucha Underground's like the greatest wrestling promotion in the world when it's not even a real wrestling promotion. It's a TV show. What?
When did you become the Lucha Underground guy?
I didn't. That's what Well, look. Now I know not to pick obscure WCW wrestlers. I'll only pick obscure WWE wrestlers.
Fine, at least I have a chance. Jesus. It had to be from like the 2000 or after. If not, you gotta pick a bigger name.
Oh, all right. I can only pick wrestlers from the year 2000 to 2004. They can only be wrestlers that
have been
you have 18 years of wrestlers you can pick from.
They can only be world champions. And they can only be Triple H. That's it.
I'm retiring with the strap.
Is that it? Is that how you want this game to go?
Yes.
So guess that Triple H. Which Triple H is this today?
The game.
It's always the game.
The Greenwich Blue Blood.
Kings.
The King of Kings.
Sometimes he's
the
terrorizing.
Greenwich Blue Blood.
The Blue Blood. Yeah. Well, it's not Triple H, guys. It was Glacier.
Smiley.
Maybe you should watch some WCW and get know your history.
I work 700 hours a week. What in the fuck am I supposed to watch WCW?
You can lock yourself in the bathroom.
I do that enough. I do that for other reasons.
Hey. If you're not watching WCW, you're not using the time wisely.
Sure, I'm looking at those pictures you send to the group chat.
Yeah, hey. All right. So that's our podcast. It was a shit show. Probably the most shit show that we've had thus far, and it was live the entire time, guys.
So we probably gonna get the most views on this one.
I forgot that we were live. I'll completely lie. And I'm sure we didn't have any live viewers, but that is okay because it will grow.
Touch it, and it will grow.
That's not.
Or I mean, build it and they will come.
Yeah, I was saying that's not.
Is that the same thing? I don't know.
Build it, they will come.
Same premise, right?
It does say that we're playing Red Dead Redemption though, so it definitely is a Red Dead Redemption.
Cowboy shit.
Pew, and the pew 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 pew. That's what we're gonna do.
All right,
gangsters.
boy.
All right. So that is book it number 12. If WCW won the war, would Travis have known who Glacier was?
Probably not.
Find out.
WCW wanted to bury that.
He would have come back and he would have like run. He would have made a new Dungeon of Doom, except it would have been like ice based.
Hold up. So I'm still on the. I just opened my phone back up, and I'm still on the Kaz Hayashi thing with the pictures. And there's a picture of Daniel Bryan, so I click on it back way back in the day, and it says Kaz Hayashi and American Dragon versus Dick Togo and Kitsushi. This guy's name is Dick to Go.
Dick to Go.
Same. If I was a wrestler, my name would be Dick to Go.
That's a pretty good name.
That's the best name.
All right, so I was gonna play the outro so you guys can hear it. You can't hear it. I'm gonna play it anyways, and don't talk till I talk, so I can edit this well, and people live get to hear the outro, maybe. So there it goes.